This car was called a machine from the future and at the same time one of the worst in history. In this video, you'll find out how Aston Martin created a car from the future that almost destroyed the company. Touch-sensitive buttons in the 1970s, a digital dashboard that didn't work, Silicon Valley, oil shakes, and a car that was called both a masterpiece and a disaster at the same time. This is the Aston Martin Lagonda, and now you'll understand why it's still debated, even today. A premiere that changed the entire October of 1976, the British Auto Show at Earl's Court. It was here that the Lagonda caused a real sensation. It stood out against everything the world had seen before. Visitors were left speechless by the unusual combination. The design featured the straight-line geometry typical of the 70s, an incredibly wide and low hood, and a radiator grille as narrow as a laser line. The interior, it was truly out of this world. For the first time ever, touch-sensitive buttons, a full-fledged onboard computer, and an electronic instrument panel were used here. This car, which seemed to have just arrived in a time machine from the distant future, became the main attraction for the press. The Lagonda ruthlessly pushed all the other new models at the show into the background. Journalists, photographers, experts, everyone was talking about it and nothing else. But what was hiding behind this futuristic facade, and why did the story of this model become so dramatic? Photos of the Lagonda instantly spread across the covers of the world's leading automotive magazines. It was everywhere. The British publication The Motor didn't even try to hide its excitement, and to highlight the uniqueness of the model, put a telling headline on the cover: Lagonda, the space-age car from Aston Martin. And then there were the rest of the new models at the show. It seemed like an absolute success. But here's where the questions begin. How did a British company that, to put it mildly, was going through tough times manage to create such an innovative product? And why, despite all its futuristic features, did Bloomberg Businessweek later include the Lagonda in its list of the 50 ugliest cars of the last 50 years? To find out the answers to these questions and many other crazy facts, watch our video until the end and let us know in the comments, is it a masterpiece or an eyesore? According to the bosses at Aston Martin, the appearance of the Lagonda was supposed to be a lifeline. The company, known for its luxurious sports cars for Agent 007, was mired in a severe financial crisis. They needed a move. What they showed at the London Motor Show was actually already the second series of a Lagonda. This was a completely new four-door body, designed by William the designer. It was a radical break from the past. The first series was based on the Aston Martin V8 and had classic, muscular, rounded shapes. The new Lagonda became a hymn to lines and angles. Sharp edges were in fashion. The design impressed with straight lines, an experimentally low, wedge-shaped hood, and a narrow, tight radiator grille. And to really blow the audience away, the main headlights were hidden in pop-up lamps. It looked so bold that it seemed, this is a concept car that would never hit the roads. But they did it. Just imagine, this was a car that looked like it had just landed from another planet. Neither before nor after did Aston Martin dare to attempt such a bold experiment. In 1974, the legendary British brand went bankrupt. The supercar market was booming. But just a year later, in 1975, the company got a new owner. Among them was Peter Sprague, an American entrepreneur and co-owner of National Semiconductor. This was the time when the era of personal computers was just beginning in California. Electronics were at the height of fashion, and the future seemed digital. The spark was ignited when Aston Martin's chief engineer, Mike Loisby, flew to Sprague's California office. Loisby was impressed not so much by the scenery, but by the touch-sensitive buttons in the elevator. At that moment, he made a decision. I want this in the car, no matter what it takes. The idea was revolutionary. Back then, even military aviation didn't use such solutions. Integrating complex electronics into production cars seemed like an impossible mission. To make the dream a reality, Aston Martin enlisted the help of the Cranfield Institute of Technology. In October 1976, the Aston Martin Lagonda was unveiled at the London Motor Show. Here's an interesting fact. what was shown to the public was more of a beautiful mock-up than a finished product. But the extravagant, wedge-shaped design and the promise of digital features impressed people so much that the company instantly received 80 pre-orders. But once the euphoria faded, the harsh reality set in. The cutting-edge technologies turned out to be, to put it mildly, raw. Professors from the institute were literally coming up with ways on the fly to make this electronics work in real road conditions. The Aston Martin team was working at the edge of human capability. Overtime with no days off and no sleep. At stake was not just the car, but the reputation and very life of the company. After thousands of hours of tireless work, in the spring of 1978, the first true Lagonda left the factory. This futuristic masterpiece went to Lord Tavistock. It was a luxurious gift from his wife for their wedding anniversary. The Lord was shocked and amazed. He received not just a car, but a real computer on wheels that was ahead of its time. The Aston Martin Lagonda was not just a car, it was a challenge to common sense. Imagine a long, four-door sedan with a hood as low as a sports car and narrow, slitted headlights. It was a real spaceship that accidentally ended up on the highway. Alien on the outside, a classic British beast on the inside. Under that endless hood hid a powerful 5-liter V8 engine with 310 horsepower, paired with a 3-speed automatic. This 2-ton cruiser could rocket from 0 to 100 in almost 7 seconds and reach up to 220 kilometers per hour. For a sedan of that era, it was a true sports car. The Lagonda's interior looked like an English lord's living room that had been hacked by computer geeks. The most expensive leather and panels made of real walnut. An elegant single-spoke steering wheel, and a fully digital instrument panel. It had everything. Onboard computer, touch-sensitive buttons in the 70s, air conditioning, power accessories, and a cool audio system. A Lord and a whisk drive. That very first owner. He didn't enjoy Prulun. Ironically, they spent 4 times more money developing the electronics than on the rest of the car. But it just didn't work. The car was sent back to the factory for repairs, but it never became any more reliable. It was the Titanic of the microchip world. Besides the glitchy dashboard, the Lagonda had a bunch of quirks. Despite the car's size, the back was cramped, adults' knees pressed against the seats, and on the early models, the windows in the back didn't even roll down. Later, they had to cut in little windows. Where's the gassing? Gas station attendants hated this car. The fuel filler neck was hidden in the rear roof pillar. It looked cool, but it was incredibly inconvenient. The rear lights would lift up together with the trunk leg. If you were hauling something bulky with the trunk open at night, no one could see you at all. Later, the engineers came to their senses and added backup lights inside. In Europe, people didn't get this design, but in the Middle East, the Lagonda became a hit. Oil sheikhs, Saudis, even the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, loved these cars. The price was steep. In 1980, it cost £50,000. On par with Rolls-Royce and Bentley, status demanded sacrifices, and owners put up with all its quirks. Each car was assembled by hand, 2,200 hours for a single vehicle. To save the situation, the company started simplifying the spaceship. In 1986, the finicky sensors were replaced with buttons, and the complicated screens were swapped for more reliable cathode ray tubes, like the old TVs. Tickford limousines appeared, equipped with televisions, and they cost a staggering £110,000. In 1987, the last 4th series was released. Smoother lines, new wheels, and the abandonment of pop-up headlights. But the Lagonda's time was already running out. The story ended in 1990, with a total of 645 units produced. Some call it the worst car ever because of its unreliability, while others love it for its boldness, comparing it to the DeLorean from Back to the Future. But one thing can be said for sure. The Aston Martin Lagonda will forever go down in history as the first attempt to marry good old mechanics with a digital future. And even though the first try was a bit of a flop, it was incredibly striking.